Hey, welcome to episode number 152 of the Canadian Prepper Podcast. We are recording on March the 6th, 2022. My name is Eric. I'm the host of the show, based in Southern Ontario. I'm a hunter, target shooter, ham radio operator, and computer geek.
Hey everybody, I'm Brad. I'm from Eastern Ontario. I've been in preparedness in some way, shape, or form since the ice storm of '98, constantly trying to better myself.
So Ian was here about 5 seconds ago. He decided to bail because he said something about not liking the audience and the listeners and such. So he disappeared. But, if you want to help support the show and keep the Canadian Prepper Podcast on the air, you can buy some swag. We've got the Canadian Prepper Podcast t-shirt and the Tactical Velcro patch, because tactical makes everything better. You can get those at prepperpodcast.ca. All proceeds help keep the lights on and the backup generator fueled.
And if you're enjoying the show, please take a few minutes and like us on Facebook and submit a review on iTunes. Also, we want your feedback, sorry, good, bad, or anything else. Just a topic you want us to cover, you can email us at feedback@prepperpodcast.ca.
I can see Ian is in the live chat here making excuses.
I see him there too.
Yeah, something about hotel internet. Mm-hmm. So we've got some wartime content for you in this episode. We're going to start off with some recent news articles. Then we're going to update you on what we've done lately for our own preparedness. Then we're going to get into the main topic, the Ukraine discussion continued. So let's move into some news, shall we? We've got one here from The Verge. It's actually a pretty interesting article. It talks about BBC News. They were blocked in Russia during the whole Russia-Ukraine invasion that's going on right now. So they've switched over to shortwave, which is kind of interesting. So it's kind of they're going back to the they're going back to the World War II era of broadcasting, and they're actually broadcasting out their shows via shortwave. So they're doing that on frequencies of 157535 kilohertz from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. and 5875 kilohertz from 10 p.m. to midnight. And that's a local Ukraine time. So I found that kind of interesting. That's a neat way of getting around that block.
Yeah, as long as they can get some news up there, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like they said, the old school way of doing it, but it's effective and it gets information out there and it gets it to people that want to hear it that aren't allowed to hear it right now because BBC's been blocked. So
yeah,
I thought that was kind of neat. And I might even try to pick up the transmission if I can hear at one point at night.
Oh, have you been able to, or you just started?
Not yet. No, I had heard that they were starting to do that, but I haven't had a chance to try and pick it up. I don't know if I'll even be able to pick it up here or not, but can always try. You never know. Yeah. That's half the fun of radio, right?
Now, I'm just wondering, do you know anybody else that would be able to pick it up and send it
anybody
on to
with
you,
anybody with a shortwave radio would be able to technically pick it up if the frequency is strong enough to get to where you are. But you could also, if you can't get it at your current location where you are, you could hop on a web SDR. So you could check out like Kiwi SDR, which is like a software-defined radio. So someone's hooked the radio up to the internet, and then somewhere in the world they've hooked their radio up, so you can actually use your internet connection to tune their radio and listen. So you could always pop around on those, and you could hear it there as well.
You'll have to walk me through that later and how to do that. That'd be interesting to listen in and see what's going on.
Yeah. Sure, yeah, I'd be happy to show you how to do that, and that's a license-free thing because it's only listening, so you can listen all you want on those radios. So,
yeah, thankfully, one closer to home here, the People's Convoy down in the U.S. has gotten to Washington D.C. and has encircled it now. A bunch of people here on different chats, whatnot, saying they're all getting caught up in the mess and the truck drivers need to go home and basic stuff that we had here in Canada, but just no real news articles about it anywhere, which kind of sucks. It'd be nice to know more about it.
Yeah, it would. I can see in the live chat here, Chris is mentioning that BBC is not banned. They just decided to pull out, like many others.
Yeah.
So, hey, I guess it all depends on your take of what happened, and who knows, they're banned and tried to pull out. who knows
Yeah,
what the actual story is? All we know is they're no longer broadcasting, and they've found a way around it. So, draw your own
But hey, they're
conclusions
still
there.
still able to get some news out.
Exactly.
Like you said, draw your own conclusions, right?
Yeah. I see Freya is asking in the live chat where everybody is tonight.
Where is everybody?
Well, hey, they
Well,
we said Ian decided to bail last second on us. Something about poor internet connection. Who knows? And Jeff decided
said
to
he's
whine
tired.
about being tired. Yeah, so there's that.
Scott's just old and he's been in bed for hours.
Yeah, he has been. Yeah, that's true. So
Yeah,
it is what it is. And then we know that that Ian and Alan just are the same person. So
that's right. So there
That's
counts
why,
out
so,
Alan because
yeah,
we know Ian.
yeah.
And, yep.
yep. So
So-
it is what it is.
Just you and I holding the fort down.
Yeah. Oh, see, I see panelists hanging out in the live chat, but they're not on the show because there's Scott.
Scott,
hey.
isn't it past your bedtime?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. He must have his tablet in bed with him. Another news article here. If you haven't noticed recently, gas prices are starting to spike up quite a bit. It's hurting the pocketbook already. But it's happening in this area. I know it's happening in your area too, Brad. But gas prices are going up.
185.9 in Cornwall.
Oh, geez. It was around $1.70 and change here. And it's just going up. So
My brother is in Newfoundland. He said it was $1.98.
$1.98.
$1.98. That was
Well,
my
from what I'm
brother's
hearing-
lived there. He's lived there for, I think it's somewhere around 10 years. It's the highest he's ever seen it.
Wild. Well, I'm
Yeah.
hearing that it's going to
Yeah.
go up to $2 plus, which is not good for anybody.
No. I
No,
drive an
I miss
hour each way in my personal
Oof.
vehicle every day to get to work.
Ooh,
And yeah.
yeah, that hurts.
Yeah.
It's
Can definitely be digging into some of those fuel reserves in the back shed in the near future.
might have
so.
to. But that is a great segue for what we've done lately for preps. We'll
That
let
is
you
true.
go first there, Brad.
Well, I actually did a little bit of fuel rotation when I found out it was that getting that high. I decided to take out some old gas and put some new, even though it hurt my pocketbook a little bit. And I got myself a new generator, my old Generac. I went to start it 2 weeks ago. I think the rings are gone on it, so I was looking around for a new one. Lowe's actually came to the rescue. They had the Furman brand, their camo version on. They were discontinuing the camo line, so they had it on for $300 down from $700. So I'll take
Wow.
that one. So I got the last one in the city.
Nice.
Yeah,
a good
that
deal.
was a bonus. If they had another one, I would have taken it too,
Yep.
for sure. Let's see, what else did it? Looking at a Berkey system, or that type of water system.
Mhm.
Realizing that I have well water here. I have a water softener. I replaced the water softener last year. I'm still getting some funky tastes and smells in the water every so often. If I do 2 or 3 loads of laundry in a row, I'll get a sulfurish smell. So I'm looking at a whole home system and or a standalone Berkey system and filters and all that. And that's goes from about $300 to $900 with some extra filters. It's a little pricey.
Yep.
So
It's funny how things jump very quickly when it comes to water purification.
yeah.
But not something you want to cheap out
so-
on, though.
No, so I'm if I can find a good system to sit on the counter and some Berkey filters and whatnot, and I can grab them together, I'll be okay.
I might know a guy.
Oh yeah, cool. Hook me up.
So for myself, topped up the fuel cans just because, like we said, the price at the pumps hurt. So topped them all up before the jump, It's just a buffer before, obviously, we're going to have to fill the cans up again. But at least I felt like we did something to kind of beat the man for a minute or two there. Got into the solar panel world, or the solar game. Grabbed a 120 watt foldable panel. So I've been kind of playing around with that a little bit, and it's going to be part of my whole battery box build. So it was it was a good deal on Amazon, so I jumped on it, and we'll see how it goes. I haven't really been able to play with it too much since I got it, but might take it for a spin tomorrow. So got the day off, going to go throw the radio in the park for a bit, and maybe I'll hook that up as well and see how it goes, because why not be a nerd on a day off, right?
Why not? Enjoy it. Make some time. Get some use out of it, right?
Exactly. So we'll see how that goes, and if it works out well, then it'll be part of the battery box build as that kind of takes shape. I see Ian here has in the chat that he did some CGN deals. Shocking. Who knew?
Oh, Freya just on the chat there that Berkey filters just went up in price. But I agree with Melissa. Worth every penny.
Yeah. Yeah, every quarter they adjust their pricing. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and it either goes up or down depending on pricing and availability and all that kind of fun stuff. So.
Yeah.
And then all the dealers have to adjust their pricing accordingly. That's why everybody's got the same price on their websites. So.
Yeah. What did they set the price, not you?
Yeah, they set the price. Yep.
Or
they set the price that you can advertise at. You know. So but I won't go too much further into that because they'll yell at me. So I happen to be a reseller. So
hey, if you can hook us up here, I'd be more than happy.
Well, there you go. Well, with that, maybe we will move into the main topic, which is going to be an interesting stumble through this evening because both myself and Brad are not overly well versed on what's going on in Ukraine, but we've both been kind of working and running around and doing that kind of thing. But like I said, Ian bailed the last second, so here we are. We get to stumble through this, and you get to listen to us stumble through it. So sorry for the stumbling, but it'll be fun. You know, it's an interesting situation. It's something that is definitely impacting everybody around the world, and it's something that we need to pay attention to because it could have some pretty big consequences here at home as well. It's certainly already having major consequences in Ukraine, and I don't think that's any secret. But it's definitely it's a world-altering event, and it's a big deal, and we've seen all kinds of things. I know you guys talked about it last week when my microphone completely decided to stop working, so I pulled an Ian and bailed. So hey, it's fair game. I did it a few minutes before. He did it 30 seconds. Whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, it's something that's starting to really change things around the world. We're seeing like the gas prices spike. It's COVID has basically disappeared off the newsreel. We're not really hearing much about that anymore. It's all Ukraine now.
Hockey got more exposure than COVID did with was it Wayne Gretzky? Gretzky is like a Slovak name right in that same area, and Walter was saying that he has descended from that area, even though he's a second generation, I think it is, and Canadian. They were talking with two other. I don't watch hockey a lot, but I recognize their names. They were talking with two other well-known hockey players who are of Ukrainian or Belarusian descent, and even they were saying that this sucks. This is horrible. So hockey got more exposure than COVID this week. Yeah. I thought that was great, and I hate hockey.
That's good. Yeah, yeah. I'm not a big hockey person either, but it's it's nice to see hockey back in the news feeds.
Okay, of course, we're Canadian, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, Ian here in the live chat has mentioned that Putin just cured COVID. It's a good point. Yeah, there you go. So problem solved, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. So some stuff here in the news that's happened recently. Nato bails out on the no-fly zone. So really that kind of sends a message that Ukraine's not going to really be relying on any kind of outside help. Lots of material help's been pledged and a little bit delivered. But that whole no-fly zone, I know they've been screaming for that for quite some time, and NATO completely bailed on it, which, I don't really do the political thing well. So, it's obviously a choice that was made, and it's, I can see why they'd want that, but I guess they're not a member of NATO, right? I guess NATO's not going to send people to help them out. One big thing is the sanctions, right? Swift pulled the pin on Russia, so that's I'm sure that's a pretty big financial blow to their banking system, because Swift does a whole lot of transactions, right? What else we have in here? The Swift thing was big. The no-fly zone for NATO was a big thing. Students from India were stuck without food, trying to rent a bus to evacuate, end up getting shot at and turned back. That's just some scary stuff going on, right? Like it's war. Of course, it's going to be scary, but
and a lot of the disinformation is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying just before the show, right, that my sister was telling me of a story she heard on the news that a gentleman from Canada went over to help his in-laws. They were out of power. They had a freezer full of food. They're now down to bartering. He's learned how to cook on a wood stove pretty quickly because there's no power anywhere. But yet all the news that we're seeing come out says there's still power everywhere. People are riding their bikes like normal. People are doing this, doing that. You said they were live streaming from places and posting on Instagram and whatnot. And, okay, well, what's true? What's not?
Yeah. And that's half the fun on just a regular day, right? What's true in the media, what's not. So then you throw this situation in place, and then you throw big governments trying to, put their agenda out there and what they want people to see out there. What's true, what's not, what's, what information can you actually rely on? It's, it gets interesting, and it's a balancing act, and it's a matter of kind of reading all kinds of different sources and then piecing together where in the middle the story kind of lines up, and that's probably closer to your truth, right?
Yeah, all I can picture is that atypical crazy guy with the big bulletin board in his room with all the news articles and all of the strings going to everything to figure out that's what we wanted. That's the truth over there.
There it is. There it is over there.
I'm not that crazy, and I sure shit ain't doing that.
No. Now, the scary stuff that has really made the news the last week is the nuke plant.
Yeah.
So I guess Russia was shelling, from what I heard, was one of the biggest nuke plants in that part of the world, and in Europe, and they they were shelling it, which.
No.
I don't think that's I don't know what's going through their head if that's what actually happened. And again, it's one of those things where one side says it never happened, one side says it did, right? It's who knows, right? But if that did happen, that's that's not good. And now it's in control of the Russians, right?
Yeah, I saw some comments on some of the videos that were coming off of that nuke plant, and they were saying the video was so poor quality that it could have been somebody standing there with a flare waving it around to simulate that it was a fire, and it was total fake propaganda, and who knows.
Like we said, that's half the fun of this whole getting through the media thing. Oh, Ian decided to show up.
Yeah,
you guys suck.
Yeah, we do. We totally do. I said it at the beginning that we're not very well versed on this, so it was going to be painful.
Well, first of all, okay, I had to wait for my computer to restart, but I thought I'd do the Rogers fix, the Control-Alt-Delete, to see if this is actually going to work. But, so I was commenting from the phone. But anyway, can we back it up a bit?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I told you at the beginning of this before you ran away, you are our expert tonight, so please do come and save us.
Okay.
I will pour my beer and enjoy.
Yes, the students from India. So of course, they were live streaming and posting videos to YouTube and TikTok and everything else. And so they were actually saying, like, okay, so in their particular area, because they're in the southeast, they were cut off of power, and they were having to collect water from their right downspouts and everything else because that's the only way they could get stuff. So they decided to pull up their own socks and get going. So they did find a bus. They got shot at and turned back, even though they said they were a bunch of students and everything else. But of course, the other side said there was Ukrainians hiding in the bus trying to escape, so they had to shoot at them, because they were evil enemy troops. So again, who do you believe, right? Like, there's so much misinformation and disinformation going on that. Like you said, the nuke plants too. Like, yeah, supposedly it was on fire, and it was about to leak massive radiation, like Chernobyl was too. And then all of a sudden, the other one there, the largest nuclear plant in Europe, was supposedly on fire and leaking radiation instantly. And yet, when the Russians actually finally rolled in, there was no radiation leak and there's no fire. So, yeah, who's actually going to benefit if there's a radiation plant on fire that's at the Russians' fault? I mean, clearly the Ukrainians would be the victims there, justify other people coming in to help them out, and so on and so on. So I think they're drumming up a lot of media coverage that's obviously very negative against Russia in order to drum up support and give a casus belli, as they like to call it, for the Russians or for the NATO countries to come in. So I'm starting to get a little bit wary of anything coming out of there, because it just seems they're either trying to drum up support or just trying to make Putin such a boogeyman that people are going to be demanding their countries get involved. But it's the dumbest thing they could do right now. Like, that no-fly zone. I mean, if you start shooting down Russian fighters because they're overhead Ukrainian troops, I mean, that's going to escalate, right? Like, that's a problem,
well, absolutely
right?
it is. Yep.
So I laugh at all these countries that have all pledged to help, including our own. Like, we promised to send weapons and material help and everything. Everybody gets as far as the Polish border, then they're like, well, how do we truck it in? Because if we send our own troops in there, they're going to get shot at, and that's a problem. And if we give it to the Ukrainians at the border, well, then clearly the Russians are going to know where to shoot it up. And, it's this massive problem. So everybody wants to help, but nobody wants to cross that border with their own stuff, because then that becomes, you're actually supplying, troops to a conflict, right? So then, it's worse than Laos in Vietnam, right? Like, you've got some issues there. So this is fast becoming like a media war more than anything else, because they can't provide any military help, so they might as well supply media help to try and get public support for it.
Would this be a case of, what was that movie, Wag the Dog?
100%. Or was it Iron Man, where they had Ben Kingsley playing the Osama bin Laden wannabe, and they said, well, I'm actually not really a bad guy. I'm just an actor, but I'm trying, And sure enough, they got an actor in charge of Ukraine. So what does that tell you? I mean, an actor that dances around in 4-inch heels, nonetheless. So, and that's not fake news. That's actually, he did that, and he admitted it. He said, yeah, that's totally me. So anyway.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so the SWIFT thing, I want to talk about that quickly too. So they cut off the SWIFT financial system as part of a sanction against Russia, but the Chinese have a system called CIPS, right, like CIPS, and it basically, you're going to be nudging one major country over to the Chinese system and away from the U.S. system. You're going to create less reliance on the U.S. dollar. You're going to make the U.S. less of a reserve currency. It's going to come around and shoot us in the foot for that. Like, it's not going to help us long term. Like, some of these sanctions they've introduced, I'm kind of wondering what they're thinking, because I understand Boeing and Airbus cutting off like airplane parts and support and saying, yeah, you guys are bad. And by the same token, long term, they're cutting off a lot of customer bases, and Chinese make airplanes too. Civic is an industry, but also, but then they turn around and said, okay, well, off of your Xbox accounts and your iPhones, that'll show you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I don't think Pooty cares about his Xbox account and whether or not his Call of Duty is gonna, games are gonna be saved or not.
No.
But, and by the same token, there was like cutting off iPhones. Well, if China invades Taiwan, you're gonna cut off their iPhone when they make iPhones in China.
Yeah, that's no.
Yeah, and so, anyways, interesting thing is, so as of this afternoon, so Russia announced that, sure enough, because of the sanctions, they've decided to create their own MasterCard and Visa replacement system called MIR, which is Russian for peace, ironically enough. And so they're actually going to partner up with China in a system called Union Pay and start with their own credit card system. So once again, you basically cut out North American banks from a large customer base. So I don't know, it's going to be very interesting long term to see how that goes.
That is interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so all these sanctions seem to be going anywhere, and like you guys talked briefly about the media thing, but Maersk, the big shipping line, they basically did a stand where they said, well, okay, anything that has even a single container on a container ship that's going to or from Russia can now no longer be processed, even if it's on the ship and it's anywhere along the itinerary. Yeah, we're gonna show those Russians by making sure we cut it off. But now you've got 20% of all shipping is going to be affected because they can't make port anywhere because they've got a Russian shipping.
Maersk is a huge company.
Oh yeah, it's getting nasty. It's very much an economic war right now, and a war of opinion. I think more than this. But a few lessons to be taken away from that for sure. Like, who has a freaking shortwave nowadays?
Yeah,
Eric does.
Yeah,
yep.
well,
got a few. Look at a few in front of me here. Yep.
He's nerd. But I mean, so the average person, like, okay, so red dot only, right? But I mean,
Yep.
with the transmitting behind the lines. But I mean, yeah, that's great that the BCBDC is trying to circumvent this banning by transmitting on shortwave. But how many average citizens that don't listen to this podcast actually have a shortwave?
It's a good point. Yeah.
I don't know. It's there's been a lot of interesting going on here, like that's for sure.
Yeah.
And the other thing is too, of course, you're hearing in the media how the Russian offensive has stalled, and they're kicking ass, and they're on the gates of Russia, like we said last week. They're on the gates of Moscow, but mass conscription. The males can't leave the country. They've upped the conscription age to 65 or no upper limit now.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
Which is gone a little bit silly, and they've got I think they've lowered it down to no minimum age either. Just show up with the passport, and they're claiming all these foreign troops are signing up. Like something like 18,000 foreign troops have arrived, but I don't know how that's going to work when you don't speak the language. But
yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, like there's a lot of skis and chucks around Edmonton, but I guarantee very few of them actually speak Ukrainian. So,
right. Point gun, pull trigger at that guy.
Yeah.
But again, so. Okay, so you're sitting in a crowded building and you're in some sort of urban scenario and you hear something that sounds like an Eastern Slavic language. Do you know if it's Russian?
Not a clue.
Can't tell
I
the
can
difference at
understand.
all.
I totally get you.
Yep.
That's like from a distance, would you able to tell the difference between Spanish and Portuguese?
Yep. Not happening.
No.
Oh.
Yep.
Again, you got me on that one.
Yeah, it's man, what a mess this whole thing is going to be. That's what you guys skip right over your fast maneuvering.
Hey, we were jumping everywhere. We're trying to make it sound like we knew what we were talking about.
Oh yeah, so the other interesting lesson too. So of course, globalism was supposed to be such a great thing too, right? So yeah, Germany, of course, they're talking about banning Russian imports to cut them off the financial taps and everything else. They turn right around and they admit that by turning off the energy imports from Russia, I think his exact words that he used, the German chancellor, was it would affect social cohesion. So that sounds to me like kind of Mad Max stuff. So I mean, yeah, if you cut off energy supplies to Europe over the course of the next winter, well, there's people freezing to death for one, but you're not going to have a whole bunch of people happy with the government. But it just goes to show you how, because of all these economies being interlinked, you can't, unless you're an energy independent, you can't pull off stuff like that and expect to get away with it. So I don't know.
What affects one affects many.
Oh yeah. Like, I don't know. Did you guys talk about the Polish Air Force? I can't remember.
Nope.
Yeah, so the Polish Air Force was supposedly going to give up a bunch of their airplanes this morning to Ukraine, and the U.S. was going to supply one-for-one trade and give them F-16s, and they were going to send their own MiGs to Ukraine to join the fight. Polish Air Force Polish government came right out and said that is totally not true. We can't do that because we'll be at war with Russia, and not to mention you can't just have a pilot hop in one airplane versus the other and be perfectly checked out, ready to fly a fighter jet. That's just
that's not how that works.
Not anymore. This isn't the Memphis Belle anymore, right? They can't go in there with 5-6 hours of ground school and take off. But this whole thing's turning into a fast mess. So, long story short, it's going to come to a head within a week, and it'll be over soon because, I mean, they're pretty much on their own.
So the article that I read about the pilots there, that's wrong? That they're not going to do that?
100% wrong. The Polish government came out and said that that's totally wrong.
See, that's half the fun of all the... Yep.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, first of all, the U.S. would be stupid to do that because they're basically telling Poland to get rid of jets with, maybe $5 million and in exchange giving them, $75 million airplanes. So it's a huge loss for the U.S. Not since Lend-Lease in World War II have we actually given that much material support to a third country to fight somebody else, like the U.S. did for Britain against Germany. And not only that, but yeah, nobody can hop on a new airplane type and go, so that's not going to happen.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, it makes sense. Plus, they don't want to get involved right now, right?
Well, and I think Poland wants to maintain some sort of defensive posture, so why would they give up their pilots that are the planes that the pilots are experienced on versus planes that they've never touched before?
Yeah.
And expect to maintain a deterrent against Russia when they're actually Poland surrounded on two sides by Belarus and a little tidbit of Russia that's left over from World War II. So, yeah. Interesting.
Yep.
I will agree with that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know where some of these people come up with these. It's like actually it's government officials come up with these stories too, right? Like when Lindsey Graham earlier this week was saying that he's hoping somebody would take out Putin. Like, I don't think you can do that. Didn't the CIA get in shit for trying to off Castro many times with exploding cigars and everything else back in the 60s?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a powerful pull from that.
Yeah. Oh, no, they were trying everything. There were 6 different ways to try and assassinate Castro. It didn't work. And as soon as it was found out, the UN just went hardcore on those people for trying that, because you can't assassinate a head of state you're not at war with. So, or at least advocate for it.
Yeah.
Pierre in the live chat says he's ready to go. He says he's watched Top Gun 100 times.
Yeah.
My brother and I have watched that quite a few times as well. Okay, he can hop in the pilot seat and I'll be the Rio and let's go to war.
Yeah. He's got tone. He's got tone.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Yeah. Do that. It'd be no fun whatsoever. Although actually there has been some good footage coming out of there that's actually looks legit. I'm hoping it's from this week. It might be recycled from previous years, but where you can see they're actually putting some of those anti-aircraft missiles to use. Now Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, prime minister of Ukraine, whatever, he came out and admitted that so far the only thing that he received as of 3 days ago was 10,000 gallons, or
I thought it was
barrels, whatever. Of diesel fuel. He hadn't gotten anything else from any other country yet, and yet all these countries are saying, "Well, this is what we're going to send them." And but it sounds like these could have some more replacement missiles on the way, so hopefully they show up in time to make a difference. But
yeah, and like you mentioned, the whole, we don't know if the photo is from like current time or another time. That's kind of making the whole media and getting through what's true and what's not. That's making things a little bit tricky as well, because there's no dates on the photos. How do you tell when they were, or when they were taken, or when they weren't? And it's a lot of fun trying to get through all the media that's being posted right now. It's who knows, right? Who knows what side's right, what side's wrong?
And one video of supposedly it was a Russian aircraft being shot down over a lake, and the pilot ejected. You could see his chute. He was coming down nice and slow to hit the water, and now you're telling me that that's not true at all, and everybody's just lying to me over here.
Yeah, it depends on who you ask. The Soviets have air superiority. Some people say that they're having a real tough time. It's just like, oh man. But so the one video I don't know if you guys looked at that one I sent on Discord, but for the listeners, I put like a fairly descriptive video. Is that fair? On Discord, that was pretty gory actually, and but the veracity of it, to see how real it was and if it was like something from recent times. But it brought us some interesting prepper questions to the fact that, like, so after a battle rolls through your little town, what do you do with all that stuff? So you've got, spent brass, which is good for me. I'd go around, collect up all that for sure. But then you've got bodies to deal with, leftover equipment that's either on fire or maybe it's intact or not. The Ukrainian government went so far as to put out something saying, "Don't worry, if you seize equipment, we won't consider it income. So go ahead and seize it and keep the fight up."
Yep.
Which I thought was pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean, just to maintain your everyday, I guess, preparedness and keep the supply chain going in your old little town. If you've got a bunch of blocked burning vehicles in your town, you're going to have to come together as a neighborhood and clear these streets afterwards, because soldiers aren't going to do it for you afterwards and clean up their mess. And then you've got bodies rotting in the street, as we saw in that video. So now you've got disease to worry about, and whether it be insect borne or just just from bacterial stuff with the bodies and everything else. You know, it's going to affect your water supply if you let it go into the drains and all of this stuff. It's yeah, real world problems now, right? So
Sure is.
yeah. So far, we've learned this week that we need to get a shortwave radio.
Yep.
Neighborhood cleanup team.
Iodine tablets.
I need to go over there and get
good luck.
I need to start some brass collection bees over there, and then iodine tablets. So the nuclear plant thing. So how many people did you contact you this week, Eric, for iodine pills?
I have had all kinds of emails for, EMP protection. What do I do in case a nuke goes off? Where can I get these tablets, the iodine tablets? It's the inbox hasn't stopped. It's been interesting, and yeah,
you're welcome.
Good luck finding iodine tablets anywhere.
Well, late too, right? So I mean, like a day late, a dollar short for a lot of these people that are.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, the time to worry about that was a long time ago.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, again, if it does melt down in the Ukraine, it's not gonna immediately affect us here, anyways, to the point where it's lethal or anything else. And can't do so much, right? They only work with radioactive iodine versus what's the other type? It's there's another, starts with a C, cesium. The cesium problem affects your liver. So yeah, it's only one of many problems, right?
Yeah. But everybody thinks that's the solve all solution, right? So everybody's stockpiling it right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, my supplier's got a big warning up on their page right now, going, "Yeah, nope, don't even try, just don't."
Yeah. So I mean,
yeah.
Another takeaway I think from this week is don't rely on outside help. Like again, wipe your own behind, because not only did not real help didn't show up, but also like even the UN Security Council. So they were expecting the Security Council to denounce Russia and say, "Bad boy, you better stop now." Well, Russia's got a seat on it and they can veto it. So they put forth this motion to denounce Russia and make them cease and desist, and Russia's like, veto, done, and that was the end of it, which shows you the efficacy of the UN to begin with. But also, I mean, the fact is that don't rely on somebody else to solve your immediate problems. It's
You suggesting that you should prepare for your own stuff and be able to look after yourself in a crisis? Is that what you're suggesting?
It is erratic, but
that's wild.
Does that mean you should test your stuff when you get it too?
Whoa! Hold on.
Test your gear. Why would you want to do that? You're going to use it up faster that way.
We've got a comment in the live chat here from Rock and Ryan Olson. It says, listening from Northern BC, love your podcasts. So thank you for all your efforts. Synergy almost have listened to them all, have listened to all of them. So appreciate that, and apologize for the first, 15 or so. Pretty rough.
Yeah, the first half of this one, for God's sake.
Yeah, and the first half, you know what? We just had to go back to our roots for a little while, all right? It is what it is.
Yeah. Northern BC, yeah, right on.
Yeah.
So that's good stuff. Hopefully his gas prices aren't as bad as the rest of ours. Yeah, we were actually over $2 a liter briefly there in Victoria, I think. And then I think we're at 189.9 where I am at home right now, but yeah.
Ouch. Yeah, the gas prices are not helping things.
I think, I'm in Ottawa right now, and I think it's 189.9 here too, so.
Wouldn't be surprised.
No.
Not cheap.
No.
Nope, not surprising.
But I mean, again, that's the downstream effects of these sanctions, right? If you start causing a ripple in the supply chain of petroleum, which is just in time worldwide.
Yep.
That's going to be a problem until things get rejigged and rehandled, I guess. And heaven forbid we open up pipelines or wells here. But
no. Okay, come on. Common sense is not allowed.
No. I thought you banned them at the door.
Something like that. So, what else did we miss? I had a few notes there, but I kind of was offline for about 5 minutes. But
I think you cleaned up our butcher job.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah. We haven't mentioned carbon monoxide yet. We're going to do that for Alan.
Well, okay. So. If there is a battle in your town, and if there's fires in the streets and stuff, and you get the odd house on fire, when you go running into the building to save Grandma, or Baba, as they're saying over in Ukraine, and Guido, the grandma, you need to go in there and make sure you have oxygen, portable oxygen, like air, should I say, not oxygen, to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah, it's a great idea. And you said that oddly just how Alan would say it. Just saying.
You cut that too, did you?
I didn't lower the voice, and the camera is off, correct?
Still pretty sure you're one and the same people.
Ooh.
Yep.
Getting closer and closer to proving that theory.
Yep. Don't worry, it's 152 episodes. We'll prove it eventually. Even though there's multiple episodes with both of you on the show, but don't worry about that. That's fake news. Yeah.
That's one of those deep fakes. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's
The wonders of computer technology.
Exactly. Yeah.
Split personality, says Danny.
Yeah, I was gonna say Denny called it out. Split personality. Good call, Denny.
Well, I could just be like, what was that guy on Split? Was it? He had like 28 personalities or something, and yeah, it could happen.
Yeah. Good.
Rock and Ryan's in Fort St. John. Actually, a very nice town. Very, very actually prairie-like. Surprisingly flat for BC. I wonder if Teabag Annie's is still a thing over there. That's actually a restaurant, not a sex maneuver.
I was going to say, do I have to check the explicit box now for this episode too?
Just to make sure I'm clear on that, Teabag Annie's is not anything.
Ian, what you do on your own time when you're not on the podcast is your thing, all right?
I think the wife would have a problem if I teabagged Annie, so...
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
This went downhill real quick.
Well, I do him on the show, so...
Oh, jeez.
Well, on that note...
Yeah. Let's say, maybe we'll move into the podcast challenge that has nothing to do with teabagging, I hope.
No. Okay, so... Podcast challenge for this week. I know it sounds like we came about it in a roundabout kind of sort of way, but try to find a third-party information source to verify the information that you're either spreading or acting upon, because holy doodle, trying to get the straight word out of any story nowadays is tough. So, put on your VPN and try and find somebody that, actually India surprisingly has been very good about some of their stories. Because I think they're one of those countries that kind of straddles the gap between the US and Russia. And they try and maintain good relations with both countries. They've been just brutal with both sides about some of their stuff, so it's actually been pretty good. Times of India, I think, is one of the ones I've been looking at lately. They've been really good. So
good to know.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. Who had the upcoming event?
I put annual preppers meet in there.
Well, you go for that one. I'll cover probably Darius's then.
So if anybody is interested, July 7th to the 10th, Desboro, Ontario, the annual preppers meet is firing back up this year. So you can check out annualpreppersmeet.com, or you can flip them an email at info@ontariopreppers.ca, and that's info@ontariopreppers.ca. It's always a good time. I've gone out for the last couple of gatherings there before COVID. I'm hoping to make it out to this one as well to do a quick talk about. I know, shocking. You ready for this? Radios. So hopefully you should get out there. But if you got some time in July, the 7th to 10th, come check it out.
I've been waiting for the dates of that to come up. I want to go down and check that out at least once.
It's a good go. Lots of good people, lots of good information. And some good fun too. You can sit around and have a couple of drinks around the fire at night and talk to all kinds of people with all kinds of experience. And everybody's willing to share their information too, which is good.
Sweet.
I've got one here, April 15th, coming up. It's a little over a month away. Gunshowtrader.com. It's the Calgary Easter Gun Show in Calgary, Alberta, of course. And the website is in the show notes, or it will be as soon as we post up the YouTube video. And it looks like gun shows are back being a thing, so that's good.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And I don't mean Eric showing off his biceps. Not bad guy. So.
You beat me to it.
Yeah.
And we got to put that behind a paywall.
Yeah,
so that's a good show. Yeah. So deal of the week. See, Cabela's has 50% off some ear protection.
Yeah, so it is active noise canceling, Walkers, Razor, Patriots. They have an audio input jack versus Bluetooth, but not bad. But 50% off. Holy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
That's a good deal.
At the very least, not just good for the gun range, but also good when the Russians roll through town and they break out the 50s or the missiles or something.
Oh boy.
Does that mean you're going to listen to some music on there when the tanks roll through so you can't hear them?
Yeah, or you can
Plausible deniability.
Memorize the new national anthem that you're going to be required to sing. At that point,
Yep. We do have a quick question here in the live chat from Rock and Ryan Olson about if we've tried glassing eggs yet.
That would be me. Yes, I did, and successful. Good for about. Well, I let it go as far as 9 months before we started to get a little bit concerned. And yeah, worth doing. I'm
questioning if you've listened to all the episodes now.
Yeah, clearly. I think I mentioned it about 3 or 4 times. But it's pickling lime is the common name, but the actual name, I'm going to have to look it up, but we got a big bag of it. You can pay, I think it's $20 for a tiny little bag of pickling lime on Amazon, or you can go to the feed store and get the exact same stuff, which I can't remember the chemical name for it, honestly, but calcium carbonate or something. Anyways, but I can tell you by next week. And a giant 50 kilo bag of it is $12. So which would be good for more than a lifetime or 6. So if you want to do glass eggs, look at your feed store first once you figure out what it is, or once I get back to you on that. But it's definitely worth doing, and it's shelf stable, no refrigeration required. So simple, even I can do it, or Eric. And
wow.
But yeah, no, it's good, especially during if he's anything like me, the egg production just got ramped up from almost nothing to full steam ahead in about 2 weeks here. So it's definitely time to start storing extra eggs, especially if things escalate, right?
Yep.
As soon as the snow starts melting a little more around here, I'm gonna build some chicken coops and go and see Alex.
Nice.
He was on a while back there. I met him at his place and got a nice little setup. Hopefully he's going to sell me some chickens, some layers, and I want to try glassing some for the winter to see how that works out.
Very nice.
Yeah, just put it in a dark closet somewhere.
Yep.
It's relatively cool, not next to the fireplace. That's bad.
So I've heard.
Yeah.
So I've heard.
All right. So we'll move into shout-outs real quick. Shout out to Ian for jumping in and saving the episode. Appreciate it.
I will give a shout out to John, who sent us an email about the BBC and the shortwave radio transmissions. I just forgot to do my hat tip on that one.
Awesome. So email, iTunes reviews. The inbox was empty. It's been a sad, quiet week. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. Hey.
So, with that, I'll bring episode number 152 of the Canadian Prepper Podcast to an end. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, or, of course, your favorite podcast app, assuming they don't decide to cut us out after that horrible first 20 minutes or so. Please help us out. Submit a review. It does help other people find us.
We record these shows. We do record these shows live on Facebook and on YouTube. If you want an early peek at the shows, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Canadian Prepper Podcast, and click the notifications tab. Gives you an alert when we're going live. You can contact me at batbradcpp@gmail.com.
All right. You can reach
new email.
Yeah. It's very apropos. You can reach Ian directly by emailing me at theislandretreat@gmail.com. You can also find me on Canadian Patriot Podcast. I'm getting back on there regularly now. On iTunes and YouTube, recording Monday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm also on the Discord chat for both CPPs. A bit of a meme lord on that one. And email if you want an invite. There you can find us discussing why government waste in society has me fantasizing of all the scroungable brass opportunities.
Very nice. Link is also in the live chat here for the Discord. You can get me on the live chat at rapidsurvival.com.
Okay, stop. Don't. Okay.
The
wife finally texts me now and says it's hydrated lime for the glass. It's like
hydrated
just in time,
lime.
honey. Thank you.
There you go.
Hopefully she missed that Annie's comment earlier on, or else I'm in deep trouble. So anyway, so yeah, hydrated lime for glassing eggs.
All right, there we go.
Now you can sign off.
Now I can sign off. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm
should we wait a second to find out if she hears about Annie?
That's good.
All right. You want to check out rapidsurvival.com. You can get me there on the live chat. And if not, you can also email me at feedback@prepperpodcast.ca. So thanks, everyone, for joining us this evening. We'll find out if Ian survives his comment about Annie if he shows up for the next episode. Until next time, be prepared, stay safe.
And keep learning.
Oh, well, I kicked yourself off.
Yeah, I was just going to say, where did he
You
go?
just know how to end an episode. This is so awesome. We're still going. Here we go. This is how you do